we started third row outside by a lap, maybe 2 or 3 we were winning it, and we just wasn't winning it, we was kicking tail. And it was one of those deals where if you ever been to a racetrack and things, you look at your car and you know it shouldn't be that fast, but it was so fast it was scary. And he was hitting every mark. The car just was handling just like a dream.
Well, I think there's about a lap and a half left. And it was almost one of them deals where it was too good to be true type things, because the car was working really good. Everything felt right, but it was just the curse of the double features. About ready to see a grown man cry. When racing is everything to you, that's, you know, people don't think that, but it's a tough pill to swallow. It was pretty disappointing. I think that was the first race we was actually going to win in the stock car, and it was just, well, I don't know. I can't explain it, you just got to feel it. It was rough. It's just like another chapter in your racing, you know, racing biography or your resume, however you want to call it. I mean, you know, that's the first time I've ever won over $300. I was pumped. So, I mean, it was really cool. The worst part is I think they was waiting on rain, so they didn't have a trophy, you know, we had to pull right in the pits. So, I mean, I kind of always like to celebrate, wave to the crowd, and I don't know, just do stuff like that, but it was pretty exciting. And Brandon started racing the year that I was taken off to do the whole band deal. And then I seen Ron at basketball practice, and they said they need some work done to the car. I said, well, bring it down. And was planning on putting a front bumper and a couple fenders on it, and by the time I was done with it, there was nothing but the center part of the cage. We'd cut it all apart and rebuilt it. And Brandon got a gig driving a modified, so he drove it, and Brandon said, well, no sense of letting that thing sit, why don't I drive it? So I drove it for a while. He's one of them guys that can go out there and know what the car's doing, and he comes in and he changes a bunch of stuff and this and that. I'm more just take what I got and make it work type deal. Before I only had to worry about disappointing myself. Now I have to worry about disappointing both of us when stuff doesn't work right. You know, it's a tough deal. Chad can watch the car, kind of tell me he can see what's going on, and by watching my hands and all that, and you know, and I can kind of tell him, well, it's kind of tailing off, it's pushing this and that, and then he knows what to change on it.
Start of the features usually when it's dry slick. Everybody changes their tires, their offsets to tighten it up getting in the corner, tighten it up coming off the corner. One big thing you do to help that is a lot of times from the week before you race on a dry slick and track, and then what happens is the tires glaze over and they got a film on them. So what you do is you take the grind off that top glaze, and it gets down into the rubber and lets it breathe, and it lets the tire come in quicker. After a couple, 2 or 3 laps, the tire heats up and it gives you the optimum range. If you didn't grind the tires, what would happen is those tires would be glazed over, you'd never get your heat cycle going, and it would just be like you're on ice. Another thing we do if it's real dry slick, what we'll do is we'll jack wedge in it. Wedge is weight from the right front to the left rear. What it does is it tightens you up from the middle of the corner off, so you can come off straight as an arrow. That's the optimum thing. You can have the car straight coming off. Another thing you can do is change your shocks. Shocks are a fine-tuning device that helps the car roll over, doesn't let it roll over as much. So if you're on a real dry slick, you want to put a soft shock on it so the car rolls over. Another thing you can do is change the right front spring. help tighten up the car. You want to go to a heavier spring. It helps you tighten up getting into the corner so you can run it in a lot harder.
Usually we run 2 nights a week, so it's either every Friday and Saturday, every Saturday and Sunday. One of them times, you know, we're on the road going racing, and you know, they go with me, and then 4 days out of the week, I'm down at the garage working on the car. I mean, races are won in the garage. I don't care what anybody says. If that car falls apart out you at the racetrack, you ain't gonna win any races. And I do a lot of side work. There's a lot of side work that I do to try to help pay for, you know, racing, because it's not cheap. I'm not going to take away from my family or my house to pay for a hobby. So I work as much as I can. I mean, I'll farm. I do, you know, air conditioning jobs on the side. It just whatever it takes.
I do whatever I got to do to race. I live, I breathe, I eat racing. I sit at home in my chair. I think about how I can make the race car faster. It's addiction. I wish they could have a rehab for junkie racers, because I would be one of the first ones there to sign up.
As far as dirt track racing now, I think everybody still loves it. Everybody wants to do it. I mean, I see, you know, I don't really see a whole lot of downfall as far as, you know, participation, as far as car count and the crowd and all that. Everything still seems to be fairly strong. When you go special racing, it's just get after it, no holds barred. If it gets tore up, it gets tore up and you fix it. But I think it's way more relaxed than point racing. You get tied up in the points and it'll make a guy nuts. I've been there.
Gotcha, Andrew, he got it.
A lot of times these specials at tracks like that aren't IMCA sanctioned, they'll just let, you know, as long as you got the same carburetor and the same tire, they can let anybody come in and run. So I mean, you're running against USRA cars and this and that.
Love the specials when we get to travel. It's a lot of fun. Last season I got to take out of school because of the Memphis special, so kind of fun.
Do I act like I'm more laid back when we're running specials?
Well, it just depends on like
where we draw.
Yeah.
That's a major thing, is where we draw. One of these days, old Dad's gonna have to be standing on the trailer watching, and he's gonna be wheeling it.
Yeah, I'll race, but it probably won't be till later on. Not gonna jump in one when I'm 14 and go out there and gun ho. I'll probably wait a little while.
I want him to respect it. I don't want just everything to be handed to him. I want him to be able to point where he realizes that when he tears it up, what stuff costs. I don't want him to go out there and just run it and think, well, Pops is going to fix it, he's going to work on it, he's going to help. You know, I don't expect him to like pay for it all. I'm going to do that, but I want him to realize what it takes to do this. I mean, it's not going to be, you know, Dad work on it all week and then can show up and drive it. I want him to realize what it takes. But the main people that really get to keep the car going is, of course, Chad and his dad, Rick. Rick, I mean, Rick's the guy, he's like the mayor of the city. He just has to sit back and make the decision, and he's one of them guys that's neutral. I mean, he's there to help us, but he's neutral where he can sit back and things we're overseeing, he's gonna pick up on, or, you know, what if you need to things might work a little better if you do it this way. He's always the guy to come up with probably the better ideas between all of them. He's the scientist of the bunch, I guess. And you know, Cody, he's been by my side since day one, and he's a family man now, so we don't see a whole lot of him. That's probably been one of the hardest things this year, because he's always, I mean, since he's been 12, since he's been Darren's age, he's, you know, been here with us. But you know, me and Chad and Rick and Cody when he's available. If it wasn't for my mother, when we sold our old car last year, we ordered a chassis from Larson, a kit. And we went up there to look at it, and they had this thing sitting there completely ready, rolling. It was like $3,600 more. My mom stepped up to the plate, and we brought it home, and she paid for a lot of it. So very rough and very sore. And we had some ups, we had some downs, tore a lot of stuff up, but ended up fifth in the point. So had a feature win, should have had 2, blew up a motor. You know, I always shoot to finish top 10 in points. I've always did that. I think every year I've been racing full season. So, I mean, I was happy as far as the way the season turned out. I don't like, you know, I got upside down once. That was pretty frustrating, but we just kept going. I mean, we always want to finish up at the top. That's always a goal, no matter if it's our first year or, you know, last year I planned on racing. Winning's winning, or whether at the top or wherever. So I'd like to win some big specials. I'd like to do a little more traveling, but you know, price of gas right now, it's hard to do anything. I mean, every week I bet you there's not a racer out there that's not on a shoestring budget. Trying to, you know, you always got to make sure that the car's number one. So we want to travel. That's definitely not out of the question. We'll just kind of have to see how everything goes.
The off season's tough. Right now, our car doesn't need a whole lot to it. Chris is doing side jobs, I'm doing side jobs. But when we're not doing side jobs, it's tough. I sit in my chair at home. I just look at I bet I wear the magazines out. It's tough knowing that down south they're racing and up here I'm not racing. I wish there's a way to pay to go down south, because I would be there.
If I'm taking any time to relax, I'm sitting on the couch watching NASCAR or any type of racing. It's racing. Racing or no deal. That's just the way it is.
When I'm at work, I think about it. It is indescribable. It's just, I love to race.